Good morning. Good morning. Come on, good morning. Good morning. I know that it's freezing outside. Let's acknowledge that it's cold outside, right? But it's warm in here, right? Just think how grateful we should be. This could be the groundbreaking and not the ribbon cutting today, right? So let's clap our hands. We would not have been here at all. I am Leslie Anderson. I am the president and CEO of the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority. And I am so happy to be here this morning to celebrate, I guess it's the official opening. Where did Wasim go? I was just talking to him. The official opening of Rector Street, market rate housing in downtown Newark. That's exciting. We can clap for that. This project is the former site of Science High School. One of the challenges that we have when we're undertaking urban redevelopment is sometimes how do we reuse buildings that are no longer existing for their initial purpose, that have an historic presence in the city. But when you bring developers like Wasim to the table, who are visionary, I'm stealing my thunder for introducing you later, Wasim, but who are visionary and creative, you can make projects like this happen. Many people said it's not a reality, that no one would pay the rents that you're looking for to live in downtown Newark. That's what we hear because we're there first in these initial meetings. Nobody believes it can be done until it is done. But someone, some agency, some entity has to step up and say, we'll take the risk. We're gonna meet the funders later, but I wanna acknowledge Mayor Baraka, who's here today. Taking the risk is what's important and what matters. Because what it looked like at the start of the project is not what it looks like today. This is a 23-story mixed-use development with market rate housing. And I was excited because a very nice young man opened the gate and let me go to parking. Now, I must confess that I'm a true Jersey girl. This whole thing about taking the train, I'm just gonna talk about myself right now, not anybody else. I gotta have a car. And it was nice, Wasim, to be able to pull in and park into a parking space. Those considerations are important. As I mentioned, these projects require strong partnerships. We're gonna hear from them later, but I wanna talk about Goldman Sachs. Sherry Wang is here representing Goldman Sachs. And I'm so excited to be on the other side of the mic this time to introduce my friend and colleague, Tim Sullivan, CEO of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, who's also another funding partner in this project. So let's get to the introductions. Now, I'm gonna say something, forgive me. I'm a woman of a certain age, I'm at bifocals, and I'm fighting it. So bear with me as I take my glasses off, and you'll become blurry, but the words here will be able to be seen. I want to introduce a few people that will not be speaking today. They're not on the agenda, but I want to say hi to them because when you work in the trenches, you deserve to be recognized. I first want to acknowledge freeholder Wayne Richardson. And what I just learned about freeholder Richardson is through the work of his office, city council members, and the city of Newark. 40 Newark residents are now part of the union. And that means that they get union wages, that they can work on other jobs, and this start becomes a sustainable development for them. And that's why we do this. So thank you, freeholder Richardson. I believe we have some council people in the house. We have council people in the house? Yes. I mean, you can clap for the council people. Come on now. We have Councilman Ramos. Is he here? Yes, I believe so. We have Councilman Gonzalez. And Councilman Eddie Osborne. Oh, you know why? Because it's here. See, they gave me a lot. It's a lot, it's a lot. And the Honorable Luis Quintana is also joining us today. Thank you very much. Now, it is cold outside and we're not interested in getting back out there. Let me back up. I'm sorry, I didn't introduce you, Ty. This is a fireball. Have you worked with her? She's a fireball. Can I promote you? No, I'm kidding. I'm going to stop. Managing Director and Vice President at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority for Policy and becoming my serious partner in crime, Ty Cooper. And if I missed you, please charge it to my mind and not my heart, because we have to get to the program, because we have a lot of important people in the room, a number of dignitaries that want to celebrate the completion of this project. First up, it's exciting for me to always introduce this individual. It's not easy to be this person. Trailblazing always looks attractive because people see the end of the story. They do not see the beginning, nor do they see your work in the trenches. But those of us that are trailblazers, that are kicking in doors and breaking glass ceilings, know the challenges that we face to be in this particular role. So it is always my pleasure to introduce the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New Jersey, the Honorable Sheila Y. Oliver.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm very pleased to be here today. And everyone knows not only do I love urban development, but I also, as Leslie made reference to, appreciate using old structures and architecture. And ironically, not only was this the old Science High School, this was a building and a structure that was created by the Ballantyne family in the year 1860. Now just think about that. That's before Abraham Lincoln did his thing, depending on who you talk to. But this was a Ballantyne building, and those of you who had ever been on Rector Street, you know there was beautiful stained glass that graced the building, and it is wonderful to see Wasim Boré and his partner Shaquille O'Neal have the vision and the insight to put something at this place, which is at a strategic location in the city of Newark. I want to thank my good friend and colleague Leslie Anderson for stepping up and working with the mayor. And EDA and all the other partners, Goldman Sachs. But Leslie understands the importance of redevelopment like no one else in New Jersey, and she's been with NJRA for significant numbers of years. She's not new to the game of urban redevelopment. And one of the things that she often says is the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority, we're the ones that are here first. We're the ones that help you with your pre-development costs. And you know, we have an interest in looking at underutilized properties, and this is certainly one of them. And I guess the significance of today, and one of the reasons we're having all this hoopla, is to send a message out to detractors who think that the city of Newark is not a place to do investment and a place to contribute to the economic growth and expansion of this city. Now, I'll have to give full disclosure. I am born and bred in Newark, New Jersey. I have to give you full disclosure. And there is no doubt that when the public sector and the private sector join together and make commitment to make things happen, things can happen. And that is what 50 Rector Park is all about. You know, the aesthetics of this building are beautiful. There are comparable buildings like this in Hoboken, comparable buildings like this in Jersey City, comparable buildings like this in Manhattan and in Brooklyn. And if we can call out Brooklyn, and we can call out Hoboken and Jersey City, and we can call out Manhattan, we can also call out Newark, New Jersey. I am extremely optimistic that this project is going to lead to job growth in the area, in the city of Newark. It is going to open up opportunity for the residents and business owners in this town as well. And Boré, we want to thank you for the commitment and the investments that you have made. And you have not detracted from the vision that you have had to develop property that's right at the foot of the Passaic River. Why is that significant? Because when Newark started, it started on the banks of the Passaic River. And its redevelopment and its growth and expansion is going to happen here at the foot of the Passaic River. So thank you for that insight. Now, we know that projects like this have significant impact in urban neighborhoods. We know that 50 Rector Park is not only readapting a piece of prime real estate in the city, but it is creating diverse housing opportunities for residents, which we all know is a critical need that we have in Newark. Governor Murphy and I are thankful to the public and private entities that stepped up and put their money on the table, their resources and their expertise. And we know that if we continue working together in a collaborative fashion, we can replicate projects like this all over the city of Newark. So I want to thank all of you for taking time for being here. So I have the honor of introducing someone that is no stranger to the city of Trenton, the state of New Jersey, the nation. And when Leslie was making reference to my involvement, and you know, people always want to interview me, how did I ever get involved in politics? Well, I was a very anti-government, anti-politic person. That's who I was. And this gentleman who represented me in the Senate some decades ago, it was then called District 25, and you know how we do, Mayor, in Essex County. One year we off the line, one year we on the line. And this particular year, the Pooh Bah said Cody ain't gonna be on the line. And so I was working at a nonprofit, and you know, I had a large constituency group. I had parents and I had young people, and you know, I was doing my thing in neighborhoods. And Senator Cody came to me and asked if I would run on a ticket with him for freeholder at large. Number one, I didn't know what a freeholder at large was. Number two, I didn't know what a petition was. All I knew was if it's against somebody, I'm for it. So I signed up with Senator Richard Cody of the 27th Legislative District, and we were on line C. Our objective was to run a full ticket to ensure that Senator Cody could be reelected to the state Senate. And that is exactly what we did. On that ticket was also my comrade in the struggle, Senator Nia Gill. That's the first time she got elected to the Assembly. Nancy Savilli, who is currently a Superior Court judge. Nancy was on that ticket with us, and Mayor of Montclair at the time, Margaret Mukherjee. But we had a rock and rollin' good time with Line C, and Senator Cody, you are the one I hold responsible for the rest of the bad things that happened to me in my life. Senator Dick Cody.
All right, Sheila. So who the hell would have thought back then you would become a lieutenant governor and I become the governor? Ain't bad, right, sister? Oh my God, we did pretty well. And by the way, you forgot, who was a candidate for the assembly with us? Chairman Jones.
That's right.
So a lot of people done pretty well with that sea lion.
That's right.
Okay? No doubt about it. Thank you for having me here, especially with Mayor Baraka. Mayor, let me tell you this. If there's a room of developers, half of them are saying, where are we going to buy in Newark? And that's the reality. And I get calls all the time. And it's because of this mayor, okay, who's getting it done like I've never seen before. I mean, the buzz is all Newark. And he's getting the cooperation from the council and a lot of other people. And Mayor, congratulations on what you're doing to this great city. God bless you. God bless you. So let me tell you my story about check. So somebody called me and said, God, would you do me a favor and me a check? I said, okay. Down at a hotel down at the airport. So I go in and sit down, we have lunch, and of course, you know me, I'm busting onions, right? So he says to me, well, Gov, he says, I've got 4 championship rings. How many you got? Well, now I do have one, a national championship for AU. I said, well, sure, I gotta be honest with you. If I was your height, I'd have 10 championship rings, okay? Let's put that aside now. But again, this is tremendous. It's tremendous for a lot of reasons. And as Leslie said about putting people to work, I mean, they're gonna have pride in the building, pride in their city. So it's a whole host of things that make this ever so important. So my brother Irishman Tim, you better have the money flowing, which is green, brother, okay? Down here, because this is where it's at. And Mayor, how good is it to see Ty Cooper back in Newark, all right? God bless you all. Thank you.
Mayor Baraka, I do not envy you following those two, but what I do know is that this is not a challenge for you. Very few people can look challenge in the face and say, I'm going to take you down. You have, in your tenure as mayor of this city, stood down everything. Everyone that comes at you, I'm trying to find the correct way to say it without being inappropriate. You have taken it down. And it's not arrogance, it's confidence, it's belief. And very few people understand what it really is faith. Because you know and believe in this city. And you know and believe and see well beyond the rest of us do about what it can be. And if we get in line with you, and this is difficult for people, and follow your lead, people will always put Newark first. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to bring to the podium Mayor Ras Baraka.
I've never been in a ribbon cutting like this. I just want you to know. Leslie's doing an awesome job. I feel like it's a rally or something, man. You know what I mean? I'm ready to start speaking about something else up there, man. I better take it easy in here, man. Just you know, it's good to see all of us together, Lieutenant Governor, Governor Cody, all of the council folks that are here, Councilman Ramos, Councilman Quintana. He's not Councilman Gonzalez, Councilman Quintana, over there, Councilman Osborne. You know, all of us are here. Aisha here with us. Ty Cooper, who's always in Newark, Governor Cody. I don't know. She works in Trenton, but she's always here. Every time I look up, she's here with us. This is an awesome day for us in the city of Newark. Just want to thank the Barai family, obviously, the entire family. They're in Newark to stay. I mean, there are a lot of people who maybe have some issue with that, but we don't. You know, they're here to stay. They're developers in our city. They're doing an awesome job for us here in the city of Newark. They're going to do more work, as much work as possible. We're going to try to get them to be involved in. You know, there are folks who think that this wasn't going to happen, but it did. Right. People think that this is the end, but this is just the beginning. Exactly. There's more work to be done, and there's a lot of work to do, and we're happy that they're here. And they also helped us put together a program that was mentioned earlier, of making sure that we got Newark residents to be on site here, to actually work on site here and become a part of the union. And a lot of projects can't boast that. This is something that has happened and has been germane to this project. A lot of people are beginning to do it at that level. We're excited about that. We want this to continue to happen here in the city because, you know, we are interested in equitable growth and development for all of the residents in the city. And part of that is also making sure that they get quality jobs, that pay them a quality amount of money, that they're able to compete at these levels, that they have opportunity to go to training, that the opportunity to be a part of the union. And so they have a consistent job, not just a job on this site, but a job in perpetuity where they're making the same kind of wages that other people are making at the same time. And so this is what makes this incredible for me, besides the fact that it's a great building. Right, it's a great building, it's a great product here in the city of Newark, and people can come and see a great building that they would imagine being in another place. Imagine being in Hoboken or downtown Jersey City or Manhattan and Meatpacking or somewhere else, but it's here in the city of Newark, in an area that I used to go in at the YMCA to play against Science High School when I was at University High School, right? So it brings back a whole bunch of memories, but I'm glad that the memories going forward are just as good as the ones that we had in the past. God bless you, Wasim and Father and everybody else. Keep going in the city of Newark. We're here with you.
Projects of this nature, and the Lieutenant Governor mentioned it, I've been around quite a while. I started when I was 5 years old. But when I first started, it was very easy. We didn't even call it a capital stack then. We called it financing. I'm seeing Sherry amen me. You had the state, a bank, and maybe some money from the city and the developer's equity. The way that we put the capital stack together today is amazing. And the fact that everyone can come together, put their ego aside, understand how their money needs to go into the deal so that it makes sense is a testament to the state of New Jersey. These next two people that I'm going to introduce are part of the Murphy administration. And let's pause 1 second and talk about the Murphy administration. There is a true commitment to building a fairer and stronger economy in New Jersey. Now that sounds like words, but what I want to say is what that leads to is a quality of life in this state that levels the playing field for everybody. I'm going to say that again. It leads to a quality of life that levels the playing field for everybody. Building a project of this nature creates the opportunity so that we can create other types of housing in the city. People with disposable income need to live here to support small businesses, right? That's what's important. So we have to understand, just like there's value in diversity in this room, there's value to diversity in housing. It's critical and it's important and it needs to be embraced. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce Deputy Chief of Staff for Economic Development in the Office of the Governor, Mr. Joe Kelly.
Thank you very much. So the Gov wanted to be here today. Unfortunately, he could not make it, but he sent me, so I've got big shoes to fill or big Allbirds to fill, depending on how you look at it. First off, Mayor, thank you for your leadership here. Lieutenant Governor, you as well. And of course, Governor Cody, our dear friend. You guys have been on this case much longer than we have, and so a lot of the credit's due to you. A lot of folks to thank here today. I also might see my friends Allison and Aisha, as well as obviously the Borais, who are the main event here today. A word on the Borais. We met them during the campaign, and we have 3 generations, I think, represented here today, and Omar, Wasim, and Sharif. You've been tremendous friends to the governor, and also the work you've done in New Brunswick, now Newark, and hopefully a lot more in Newark. And places like Atlantic City, I think, speak to what the governor has envisioned for the state in terms of, really putting forward a product that is second to none in terms of quality, but also drives economic development, true, real economic development, focused on transit-oriented development, focused on equitable growth and the principles that the mayor spoke to. So we couldn't be happier to be here today. It's a little over a year since the governor announced his economic development plan for the state. If he was here, he would say, as Newark goes, so goes New Jersey. And he means that from the bottom of his heart. So I think with all these future projects, whether it's Borais or others, whether it's real estate or infrastructure, you're going to see the Murphy administration double down and do everything we can to make sure this city and the rest of the state continues on its projections. So thank you all for being here today, and I'll send my best to or I'll make sure the governor knows we're all here, and you're all sending your best. So thank you.
I mentioned earlier that Ty Cooper is my partner in crime. She's my new partner in crime, my old partner in crime, and I'm going to warn you to behave yourself when you come up here, sir, is Mr. Paul Seppi. He gets this. He has worked at varying levels of state government, and that background and that knowledge base of how to tweak the financing to fit the project. Now, a lot of times we get this wrong because we want the project to fit our financing, and it doesn't work that way. The way that it works is for us to understand the nature of the project and figure out how to get our financing into it. Now, I'm gonna save my remarks for Wasim later, but if you know Wasim, it's not hard to do with him because he's gonna tell you how your financing will fit the project. I'm sorry, Wasim, I had to, I apologize. But this gentleman and I have worked together for a very, very long time, and he is going to bring remarks on behalf of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, a funding partner in this project, Mr. Paul Seppi, Managing Director of Business Development for the EDA.
I will be kind. Well, and I'll certainly behave as my boss is here now. I'm also known as Ty Cooper South. South being anything south of Route 78, and anything north of 280 doesn't matter to Ty. It's all about Newark. But the reality is that's what it's about today, right? And to the Borais, Wasim, and Omar, I hope Sam's around somewhere. Wasim, Sam, good job, man. I'm always busting Wasim's chops about Sam being overshadowed. But in reality, right? So I've been to this site several times, and never has it looked so good as it does today. We've taken walking tours of the site, pre-approval, pre-construction, and it's amazing how it is. I'm just hoping that you give away s'mores kits for the fire pit that you've got going there. But the reality is, in line with wherever Joe went, Joe's comments in regards to the governor's economic development plan, it talks about transit development as well. I walked from our new office over at Gateway. It took me 5 minutes. I do have a long stride, but the reality is it's transit oriented. It's important for this city, for any city for that matter, but this city in particular. Mayor Barack, congratulations on this success that we're experiencing in the city. To be able to have that connectivity, to be able to get on a train and go anywhere. If you want to go back to New Brunswick, go back to New Brunswick office, go over to Jersey City, go to New York to take a show on. It's incredible to see the amount of work that's going on in this community, and it's a great effort. So congratulations to everyone here, and in particular to the Borai family. It's great. I've known you guys for a long time, and it's really good to see the success. Thank you.
We're going to talk a lot about relationship, partnerships, and collaborations today. On a number of occasions, projects can't move forward because of what happens at the municipal level. You go to a planning board meeting and there's no quorum. You go to the Board of Adjustment meeting, there's no quorum. You go to the city council meeting, and this is just real talk. You know, we're gonna do urban redevelopment and we're gonna talk about it, then let's talk about it. You go to the city council meeting and the city council's mad at the mayor and they're not gonna do anything he or she wants. That's not the problem here. You drive around this city, you see all types of development, all types of projects that go up. But what's important to note is it doesn't happen magically. It doesn't. It's a great deal of work to make sure that every piece is in place, that every person is talking to the other person. Sometimes you have to get up out of your office, walk down and say, I need that CO right now. And these two individuals that I'm about to introduce make this happen. Now, she's a newcomer, but I don't believe that she's a newcomer to this business. Because if she were, she wouldn't have this opportunity. You would not be able to make it in the city of Newark. We are grateful for the experience that you bring from around the country to Newark to move their economic development agenda forward. It is my pleasure to introduce Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development for the City of Newark.
Good afternoon. I am Allison Ladd. I'm the Acting Director and Deputy Mayor for the City of Newark. It is my pleasure to serve Mayor Ras Baraka, the council, and the residents here in Newark. I recently joined the city about 300, wow, about 100 days ago, and it's been a real pleasure for me to be part of the fabric of the city of Newark. I know that I will come to learn all of the great partnerships that we need at the state level, at the county level, with the development partners, and really with the financiers that are going to help make projects like today happen. A couple words came to mind as I was preparing for today's event. Really three. One was vision, the second was partnership, and the third was equity. So many people created the vision, I understand, more than 10 years ago, to make this happen, to figure out how we revitalize, how we invest, how we reinvest in the city of Newark. And it's really the vision of the people that are here today and that I get to celebrate with you. So thank you for having the vision, for helping us move Newark forward. The second really is partnership. You're hearing from all of us today, whether it's from the governor's office, lieutenant governor, from the state agencies, council, the banking institutions like Goldman and Prudential, our council members. It takes us all to make something like today happen. And I agree with you, Lieutenant Governor, we need to replicate this every day, all the time. And part of my really honor of being here is that I get to be part of it. The third thing I'll say is equity. The mayor, when I first met him, I think I met you in May, we talked a lot about his vision for the city and his vision for making both downtown and our neighborhoods equitable with choice, opportunity, and inclusiveness. And I think today's really culminates and explains what we're talking about. Having something like today be built and for us to open it, have residents call it home, and knowing that at the same time, there's also an investment in affordable housing that happens because of projects like this. And so it really takes that equity, that vision, that partnership for us to make today happen. And just really, it's fantastic to be here. So on a personal note, as I close, I really want to tell you, Wasim, your team here is incredible. For those that don't know, I am a resident of this beautiful establishment. I did not know Wasim before I signed a lease, but it's been really a great place for me to call home. Coming from Washington, D.C., I was there for 20 years, and so I needed a place that was warm, a place that gave me comfort, a place that I knew was close to City Hall, sir, so that I could get back and forth as quickly as possible. But Wasim, your team, Shannon, Oscar, Daniel, Yolanda, they're all fantastic. So I know that you have built a family here, and I'm glad to be part of it, so thank you.
Two more people slipped in since I did the introduction. First, we have Burnell Hall, who leads Invest North. Thank you for joining us today. And I know that he's not from this county, but he's all over the place for economic development in the state of New Jersey. I just want to introduce Hudson County freeholder Bill O'Day, who's hiding way in the back. Now, earlier I used the word magic, but this next person is very magical because we bring it regularly. I'm sorry, did I say that in that mic? But we do, and it's exciting for me to understand that I started this job 20 plus years ago and I was by myself. And today to be with some magical women making a difference in the state of New Jersey is very exciting. I'm so happy to work with her. I'm so happy to stand next to her, and I'm excited to introduce her in this place, the president and CEO of the Newark Alliance, Aisha Glover.
Leslie on her intros, man. I do feel like this is rally-ish. We should be in a stadium or something. No, it's definitely a day for celebration. For just to be fully honest, I asked Wasim, I was like, "You want me to speak? Like, why do you want me to speak?" My next question was, "Is the mayor on?" Yes, the mayor's confirmed. Is the deputy mayor confirmed? Yeah, okay. I covered my bases. All right, I think it's okay for me to speak now. And then I thought maybe because at last year's topping off ceremony, I was not here because I was leading a tour with Amazon. And a reporter who happens to be in the room right now said, "Where's Aisha?" Because there was a lot of suspicion and speculation about when Amazon would visit. And that reporter thought to himself, maybe that was the big day of Amazon's visit. So Tom, you were correct. So I'm going to give the speech I was going to give a year and a half ago during their visit. So no, but in all honesty, I realized that probably it's because while the Newark Alliance leads corporations and institutions around the city, about a year ago we brought all the development community into the fold, at least the large developers. And the thinking there being that in order for us to be comprehensive in our approach and really work in lockstep with the mayor and EHD, this can't be a one-off project here and there, right? It has to be comprehensive. It has to be driven and rooted in increasing residential downtown and increased foot traffic. We have to help visualize it collectively in the same way that the mayor does. So I commend you, Wasim, and Borai Development for all of your work, your thought leadership, your partnership, your counsel. And just want to acknowledge that behind the beautiful building is a real commitment to local hiring and affordable housing and inclusion. So congratulations.
So as a state and a city, we put a little bit of money into this project. right? The reality is it was a little bit of money. The big dog in the funding capital stack is Goldman Sachs. And when we think of Goldman Sachs, we think wealthy, real wealthy. I just have to tell this story real quick. We went to the offices at Goldman Sachs. There's no doorknobs on the doors. They open magically when you walk in. It's open. There's no doorknobs. And I thought to myself as I left, I said, that's a lot of money that you don't even have to buy doorknobs. I'm saying all that to say this urban investment group, however, gets it. There are very few entities that will swim into the urban waters, that will come into this place and make an investment. Because the excuse they give us is that we can't convince the people that make these decisions to invest in Newark. And Goldman Sachs said, we have money. We'll create a group that focuses on urban investment. They've been a partner in the state and particularly in the city of Newark for a very long time. I'm excited to say that through our opportunity zones, they're coming out of this footprint and looking at the entire state of New Jersey. And what makes this exciting is the consistency of Margaret and her team. But behind every leader, and I'm going to introduce my staff later, is a great team. And I'm so glad to see you here today, Sherry Wang, because your commitment to getting projects done is amazing. She is the vice president of Goldman Sachs Urban Investment Group and made a significant investment into this project. Ms. Sherry Wang.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you everyone for having us here. I think, Leslie alluded to the fact that we've been in the city for a fairly long time. We actually, our first investment that we made was with Wasim Barai and Omar and Samer to rehabilitate a 6-screen movie theater out on Springfield Avenue. And we call it Shackplex, but I think everyone here calls it Newark Screens. It's the best movie theater in all of Newark. So when we started thinking about, whether or not we could invest in Newark, that was back in 2008, 2009. We were in the midst of the great financial crisis. And when we thought about a city like Newark, there were all the fundamentals that I don't need to tell everyone about in this room: the access to transportation, the very strong public sector leadership, both within the city and the state, as well as the incredible corporate anchor institutions like Prudential, like PSEG, like Audible, who were here anchoring the city, never giving up on the city. But what we wanted to do was to make sure that we didn't just make a one-off investment. We are very focused on making sure that our investment would be the first of many, and I'm very proud to say that to date we have invested over $640 million in the city across 20 different projects. So when we thought about, our commitment to the city, and it is long-term, it's been 10 years, we hope it is 100 more. We thought about what kind of operators do we want to work with. And so I remember Margaret, myself, and Alicia Glenn, who formerly was in our group as well. We went down to New Brunswick to meet with Omar and Wasim and Samer. And we sat in their offices. It was beautiful, of course. And they stood out from the window, and I still remember Omar pointing out, this was the building that I built in 1985. And this was the building that we built in 2012, and we still own it. And this was the building that we built in the 1990s, and we still own that. And to us, it was very clear that they weren't just what I'll call fix and flip developers. These were developers who were real owners in the city of New Brunswick, and they decided to make a commitment to the city of New Jersey, and I couldn't thank you guys enough for that. I also want to say just thank you to my team. I think Leslie pointed out Margaret Anadu is a fierce, amazing person who runs our team. Here with us today, you also have Alan Sage from our group, Sid and Anna, and then back in New York right now, you have the head of our construction team, Alex Ivanovic, who without them, obviously, we absolutely could not get this project done. And then finally, I would just like to say thank you to our public sector partners, thank you to the state, thank you to the EDA, thank you to the City Council, thank you to Mayor Ras Baraka and your entire team, thank you Aisha, thank you everyone for helping us get this done. And also, I think this group of people almost never gets recognized at groundbreakings. Thank you very much to the general contractors, the engineers, and the architects, and the property management team that built this building and is keeping it going. Thank you.
We're rounding out, closing out this program, but Margaret is absolutely right. You have to thank people. If I don't thank these people, they may not show up tomorrow, and I'll be at the office by myself. I want to thank my staff, not only for pulling this event together today, but also for structuring the $3 million that we put into this project to make it a reality. It's not easy to do, and every day we do it, and I appreciate all of your hard work and effort. They, like me, see this beyond a job, and it's a passion and it's a commitment to move across this state and make New Jersey's urban areas safer and improve the quality of life. I also want to thank the Department of Community Affairs. We appreciate your support today in helping us pull this together, and the staff of the Lieutenant Governor's Office. We don't do this by ourselves, and I also want to thank everyone. I'm going to bring up our last speaker for today, and I think it's appropriate that he come up at this point, but I want to recognize his dad, Mr. Omar Barai. We cannot negate the generational impact of a development team like Barai Development. The longevity and the commitment started with you, Mr. Barai. And I have to give you kudos for passing it along to your sons. Because many times people say, I don't want to go into the family business. I want to blaze my own trail and do something different. And you have done this with your son, Sam. And I'm going to say it later. I believe that Sharif is your nephew. And I'm sorry, Wasim, before I bring you up, because she just literally walked in the door, I have to afford the opportunity for Council President Crump, if she would like to bring very brief remarks to please come forward. The Honorable Mildred Crump. How are you? Let me move my stuff so you can have space.
That's the first time someone has told me to my face that I talk too long. But I accept it. Isn't this an exciting day? Oh, come on. Isn't this an exciting day? It has become multi-purpose. I used to teach in this building. They had 2 or 3 totally blind students. Most of you know I'm a Braille teacher by profession. And the school was one of the schools in the district that accepted more than 1 student. And so I have very, very fond memories of this building. I need to congratulate Hasim and everybody who's involved with this project, certainly to the mayor. Hi, Mayor. How are you? And certainly, let me recognize a couple of people, my council colleagues who are here today. And guess what? We have sometimes we have a problem getting a quorum, but we're here on today. That was a joke. We're here because this is very important to the great city of Newark. Certainly the presence of our friend and awesome leaders in Sheila Oliver, our Lieutenant Governor, and certainly Governor Cody. We congratulate you, everyone who had a hand in making this project become a reality. I say thank you. On my way, and I'm going to take my seat on this, on my way here, I said to one of my staff who drove me over, and I said, you know, eventually I'm going to sell my house, and I now know where I'm going to move. It's going to be right here.
Thank you. I have a tendency to be instructional, but I want to do this now. It is very cold outside. However, we have to cut this ribbon. It would not be appropriate. And I collect the ribbons from my ribbon cutting, so that's why we have to do this. I consider it very good luck for the next project. So after Wasim speaks, I'm going to ask us to quickly convene outside. We'll cut the ribbon, we'll take a tour, and we're gonna get something to eat, because Vonda's on the other side ready to kill me if this program lasts much longer. But I wanna say a lot of things about Wasim, but I'm not. I'm teasing Wasim, but I have the mic right now, so I get to do it. It's visionary, Wasim. We had a conversation at the Governor's Housing Conference this year, and you said to me, I want to be in gateway cities. I want my projects to be anchors in cities that connect and lead to other development that will make cities better. Beyond building great projects, you have a commitment for them to be sustainable beyond the bricks and mortar. I always say that everyone lives in affordable housing. And I get strange looks back, but we do. We live in what we can afford. And we sometimes look down on that. But thank you to developers like you who understand the need for quality housing in the state of New Jersey, quality projects in the state of New Jersey. Your work here, your work in New Brunswick, your work in Atlantic City is a testament to the commitment of the Barai family, and right now led by you. It is sometimes difficult to work with you. But, let me be a Baptist preacher for a second. There is no testimony without the test. Thank you for testing me and making me a better president and CEO so we can take this around the state and make New Jersey better. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the leader of this project, Mr. Wasim Barai.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So I have to first start by saying, my family, we considered it an honor for the city of Newark to give us an opportunity to build on this ground, in this location, and to bring something special to the city of Newark. And it wasn't until, and I have to say it from the get-go, it wasn't until Mayor Ras J. Baraka took office that we finally felt that now is the time to build in the city of Newark. So we thank you. And, to me, you look around this room, it's just an ordinary ribbon cutting. I've only been to a few in my life because I hear developers quoting Emerson and Voltaire, and I say, what are these people doing? They're crazy. But, for us, I look at this room, and this is the reason why 20 years ago, my dad said to us, figure out a way to become the biggest developer in Newark. And my brother and I looked at each other. We said, all right, you willing to wait 20 years? He said, I'm willing to wait till hell freezes over. I want to be in Newark. And, the lesson that my brother and I have learned from my dad is if you don't love it, leave it. Because we started working on this project in 2006. Now, obviously it starts and stops, but we believed that in Newark, all different types of people would want to live in the city of Newark. And I kind of compared it to when I started at NYU in the early 90s. It was an eclectic group of folks that made up the city. And that diversity is what made New York so great at that time. And, we felt in Newark, it's different. It's got, look at this room. Any ribbon cutting, even in cities like Jersey City or Hoboken, it doesn't bring the breadth and diversity of people that we have here. And that was our goal for Rector. So instead of doing the, what most market professionals would consider a standard job to make your building work, we said we're going to build the product that we think is not showing up in the market studies, that's not showing up in the 24-month absorption studies everyone told us. We are now on month 4.5 of being open, and we are 55% leased in the city of Newark. But I have to be clear, that's not because of us, it's because of you. So, as developers, I joke all the time, at the end of the day, we are really leeches. We leech off of great cities. The mistake these guys make, they look in the mirror and they say, look what I did. We didn't do it. It was everyone in this room. We have amazing partners, starting with the administration. We thank everyone that is here that's supporting it. We have to thank the EDA. EDA held a commitment for us for 9 years. I've never said this before. We were the first project the EDA approved in December 2009. And now here we are 10 years later, and the building's officially open. To Goldman Sachs, the same thing. Sherry and Margaret held a commitment for us on a project. Most banks, just so you know, they hold commitments for 3 to 6 months. Goldman Sachs held a commitment for 7 years. And again, it was because we could have built this project 6 years ago. But the point was, there had to be the right time where it was going to be successful. And we feel now in the city of Newark, with the buzz, with this administration, if you look at the talent that works for this city, the sky is the limit. That's why our next building, we're not just going to do another 170 units. We're doing 370 units. So we're doubling everything. And again, I thank the city council. I see some very great leaders on the city council sitting here today that supported us all the way through. We were able to bring a job training program that Bill O'Day, hiding in the back there, did in Jersey City. And we said, you know what? Most average jobs in Newark, they bring in 3 or 4 residents. Let's try to bring in 50. We brought in 42 Newark residents. Some here today. Please stand up. You worked on our job. And we didn't do the old Section 3 trick that people do, bring them in for a job. We actually did training. Billy and his team did training every Saturday. We trained about 350 Newark residents to get 42 into the unions, and that means they have a career. So that is the minimum give back we can do. And on our next project on Market Street, our goal is 100 Newarkers. And towards that end, Mayor, what my family is contributing today to the city of Newark to job workforce training, we're donating $25,000 to the city of Newark. It's a small thank you, but it's our way of thanking the city for allowing us to be here. Thank you. And I have after we cut the ribbon, I have my sales team here. Everyone wants to go on tours. I can't promise anyone a good deal on a unit, but I'll give you a tour.
You're not in the picture. Really? I need you to make your way around so we can get the lieutenant governor. 2, 3. Yeah!